Hey everyone, Aurora here with Supercharged Science, homeschool science resources for K through 12. And today we're going to be talking about density and specific gravity and geology. And also I want to extend a personal invitation to you to join me for a free live class tomorrow, Thursday. That's January 23rd at 10 a.m. Pacific. And you can sign up using the link that's right up there. Do you see it? It's superchargedscience.com/earth, E-A-R-T-H. So superchargedscience.com/earth. And once you sign up or when you go to that page, it will look like this. Let me show you. It will look like this. And no, actually it won't look like that. It will look like it'll look like something that I have here. Hang on just a second. Let's see. It'll look like this. And once you sign up on the website, you will get you'll be taken to a page where you can download your worksheet for the class and get all ready for it. Here, let me show you. And you'll be able to download this guy, and you'll be able to use the vocabulary list back there. You can use this for your homeschool science lesson. There's also a chart in here to help you classify different rocks that you have lying around your backyard. And during the class, we're going to be going through this page that I can't get to, this sheet, and we're going to be going through a lot of the rocks and the minerals that are on the sheet. I'm going to show you step by step how to be a real field geologist. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that. That's tomorrow at 10 o'clock. If you'd like to join me, I'd love to see you. Just use that link that's right on top of my head, www.superchargedscience.com, and you will be able to join me tomorrow live. It's free. You don't need any materials. If you have a scoop of rocks from your backyard, that's perfect. You'll need like a penny and a steel nail and a magnifying glass if you have it, but you really just need some rocks, and that's it. So, all right, well, we're going to talk about density. So this is something that I thought we would cover tomorrow, but honestly, I think we have too much to cover already. So this is a small mini lesson that kind of teams up with what we're going to be doing tomorrow. So I'm going to just spend about 5-10 minutes. We're going to talk about density and do some quick hands-on experiments that you can do at home. And then once you're done with this, roll over into the class tomorrow and you can get the rest of the lesson. Okay, so density and specific gravity are properties that geologists use to identify minerals. You know, when you look at a pile of rocks, you see you might have pink ones and green ones and brown ones, and some of them are shaped like this, and some of them are tiny, and some of them are huge, and some look like a bunch of them stuck together. It can be really hard to tell one rock from another. And so one of the tests that geologists use is they use color, and they'll use streak tests, and we'll talk about more about that tomorrow. They'll use cleavage and fracture. They'll also use density and specific gravity. And so let's talk about what those things are. So density is a measure of how heavy something is for its size. Now you can find the density of rocks by weighing them on a scale. So you'll get, maybe the rock is 200 grams, something like that. And then you would divide it you get density by taking that number, say 200 grams, and dividing it by its volume. Volume is how much 3D space something takes up. But how do you find volume? Well, if you took a math class, you already know there are lots and lots of math equations for perfect shapes, right? Like if the rock was a perfect sphere, or a cube, or a cone, or a cylinder. But you tell me, are rocks usually these perfect shapes? Right. What do you do if something doesn't match something that you learned in math in one of your textbooks, right? It's like in the real world, it doesn't usually look like these perfect shapes, right? How would you do it? How would you find something's volume? What do you think? Okay, so there's this really neat trick that we can do. Okay, so in order to do that, for example, if your rock looked like this, it'd be pretty easy, right? You'd just go 4/3 times pi times r cubed. Finding r would be hard, so you'd find the diameter, the part where it's the largest, and you divide it by half, and then you plug it in. So, but how do you do it with something like this, right? This is a piece of rose quartz. How much volume do we have? Okay, well, the first thing we're going to do to find density is we're going to weigh it without getting it wet at all. That way there's no water in there at all. So we will weigh it, and suppose, it's 150 grams or something like that. Then we're going to take a cup of water, Now you want to get something that has the most number of graduations on the side. So if you have like a beaker or you have a graduated cylinder, those are perfect. A lot of people don't have those things, so I have a measuring cup from my kitchen. And so you want to get the ones that you'll be able to tell the difference of the most, and you want to get as large of a rock as possible so you can be more accurate in your measurements. Okay, because if you put a tiny rock in here, you're not going to see much of a difference. So I know because I'm holding this, it's going to be wavy. Don't hold this in the air. You're going to be doing this on the table. So you're first going to measure where it is, and it's easiest if you pick something flat. You know, suppose you filled the thing up to, say mine's like 3 cups. Okay, and then actually I have milliliters on the back, so I might use that. Okay, so looks like I've got about 800 milliliters. So I write that down. Okay, that's my before the rock goes in. Now, when I put the rock in, does the water level go up or down? It goes up, right? There's more stuff in there. Now I've got like 840, maybe. It's hard to tell because I'm shaking a little bit. Now I've got a different measurement, right? So what you do is you just take the difference between those 2 volumes, and that difference is the volume of the rock. Simple, right? Now, how do you translate that into density? Well, let me show you. It's really super simple. So once we have that measurement, remember density is mass divided by volume. So we take our 150 grams, or in this example it's 5 grams, and then suppose we had a difference of 20 cubic centimeters, 20 milliliters, okay? And now I will get a little equation. I can multiply, or I can divide 5 by 20, and I'll get 0.25 grams per cubic centimeter. That's it. That's how you find density. Pretty cool, huh? Now, notice that our final number is less than 1. Okay, so water has a density of 1. Anything less than 1 is going to float. Anything more than 1, it's going to sink. And that's what we call specific gravity. And so we're just dividing the density we got by the density of water. Okay? So let's take a look at a little experiment you can do at home. Now this one's super cool, super easy to do. Now if you just joined us, my name's Aurora. We're doing part of a geology lesson in density and specific gravity. I'm going to show you some hands-on experiments you can do with your kids at home. You can actually make one of these. And if you like this and you would like to participate in a free class tomorrow, it's about 70 minutes long. It's tomorrow, January 23rd. You want to sign up at the link that's right above my head, like right up there. You want to go to www.superchargedscience.com/earth, EARTH, superchargedscience.com/earth. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to get, well, here, let me show you what it is, and then I'll show you how you can make one of these fancy things. Okay, so imagine I've given you one of these, and I've given you one of these. Now, just without even holding it in your hand, which one do you think is going to weigh more? Yeah, a lot of people think the big one, right? Okay, so look at this. Here's my bowl of water, and here's my sphere. Did it sink or float? Yeah, it floated, huh? This is actually a hollow sphere, and let's take that one out. This one's not hollow. You can see it's very decidedly sinks, doesn't it? Okay, what if I told you the mass was exactly the same? Most people go, wait, what? So these have exactly 150 grams per, the density is the same as well. So but it's got exactly the same amount of weight, so they're 150 grams each. When you put this into a student's hands and you ask them, you put one in each hand, you say, okay, which one weighs more? They always say this one, even though they're exactly the same. Now you can duplicate this at home, and what you do is you get 2 pieces of foil that are the same size. You can get really big pieces of foil. And you make one, and this is a lot easier if you have like a balloon. I'm gonna pretend this is a balloon that I've blown up. And then you're gonna cover it with the foil. So it looks like this. And then you pop the balloon, and so now all you're left with is a shell of the ball, right? And then you take another piece of foil that's exactly the same size, crumple it up real small, and put it in their hands. And you've got the same thing. And now you ask them which one weighs more. And so they're going to say, oh, this one weighs more. Now you got to get a big piece of foil, otherwise foil is so light anyway, and you're not using a whole lot of it. So you want to use like a big sheet of foil when you do this. And they're going to say, oh, this one's heavier. And it's like, actually, The next step is what you do is with your foil balls is you'll take them and put them in identical containers, blindfold the student, and then have them hold each container. So the identical containers, they could be like soup jars or Tupperware, but so they can't feel the shape and they can't feel how it's more spread out here and more concentrated in the small one. And so you blindfold them and they'll say, oh, they weigh the same. So the area that it's spread out on, the density of how much volume that it takes up, whether it's concentrated in a small amount or a large amount, is going to affect our human perception of how much something weighs. So that's a cool experiment you can do. Got one more for you. Okay, I've got a block of wood here, and I've got a metal coin. So usually I have trouble doing this while I'm standing up, but here's our metal coin. Okay, do you see it? It's going to be a little hard to see, but let's see if I can. This is usually what happens. I have a hard time, but if I work at it, and if I don't actually hold it, I can usually get it to float. I can get a metal coin to float, and you got to do it really carefully. Okay, let me work on this for a second. But let me show you this piece of wood. When we put it in, is it going to float or sink? Yeah, wood usually floats, right? Except for this one. This one has a specific gravity smaller than 1 or greater than 1? Yeah, greater than 1. Remember, anything with a density greater than 1 is going to sink, right? So this is called ironwood. There's a lot of stuff packed in for its size. And this that I'm trying to get to float is a very thin, it's a Japanese yen. It's made out of aluminum. And let's see if I can get it to float, and maybe I can show you. But these are floating coins, and so you can get it to float right on the surface using the surface tension of the water, because it's like 0.95 or something. It's really close to water, so it mostly wants to float, but sometimes it likes to sink because it's so close to what it is. So, here, let me show you the slide on that one. So what we were looking at here is ironwood. Okay, so which one floats and which one sinks? A chunk of wood and a metal coin, right? Usually the wood is going to float and the metal sinks. Okay, so ironwood has a density of 1.3 grams per cubic centimeter, so it sinks. So this one, though, has a density of 2.2 grams per cubic centimeter. Okay, so the aluminum has a higher density than water, so why does it float? See, this number is larger, right? So why does it float? So you remember when we had the piece of foil? Here, let me get the piece of foil. It's got the same density as this coin. So what would happen though if I made a boat out of this? Like right now, if I put this in the water, is it gonna sink or, well, this actually might actually float because there's a lot of air. So if I make a boat out of this sucker, it's actually gonna float. If I kind of widen it out a little bit, it's actually gonna float, right? Okay, so the shape of the thing really matters, just like we saw here. These are the same, this is the same mass, but it's also, it's the shape of it that was different, right? That's why the big one sunk to the, was floating, and the small one was rolling around on the bottom. So the shape of the thing matters. Now this coin that I was showing you is distributed over a larger area. It's big and thin like a sheet of paper, so it'll distribute the weight more evenly across the water, so it floats. Does that make sense? Because if you think about it, if you make a boat out of steel, you know, that thing should be sinking. But because of the shape and the water that it displaces, the buoyant force is such that that steel boat, those big huge destroyers, right, or those big huge airship ships that are out from the Navy and the Marines that are in the water, those things actually float. So that's our quick lesson in density. If you like this and you want more, I encourage you to sign up for our class that we're doing tomorrow. It's totally free. We're going to be doing a class on the science of rocks, gems, minerals, and meteorites, and it's a free online class. All you need to do to register is go to www.superchargedscience.com/earth, and you can register there. And once you've registered, you will get a download that looks like this, and you can print it out. There's all kinds of neat things we're going to be doing in class. You can look it over. Don't peek too much because some of it's a surprise. But read through the first page. These are the concepts we're going to cover. And you'll notice near the back there are vocabulary words, and also there's an answer key, but don't peek at that yet. And also there's a charting system for classifying rocks. So we're going to walk through step by step the different techniques that real field geologists will use when they classify rocks, and you're going to do it on your personal set. So you don't have to go out there and buy rocks. Just use the ones that you already have. Now, one of the things I noticed was missing, I just updated it, so make sure you've got the latest version. On there it says you also need some tape and scissors, and you'll need things like if you have a handheld magnifying glass, get that. You'll need a penny and a steel nail if you can find that. And this is the good news, you're going to need a coffee mug. So make sure your parents have their coffee while you're in class, and then near kind of the middle of class, we'll be using that mug for something else. So make sure they finish their coffee. So, and if you have any questions about this, feel free to email me. I'm aurora@superchargedscience.com, and I look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's class. Just go ahead and use this link that's up here on top of my head, superchargedscience.com/earth, to register for class. If you know of anybody else that you think would really love this class, make sure you forward this video to them and forward the link to them so they can participate as well. We actually have people from all around the world participate. In fact, you'll hear me say, hey, welcome to our class. So-and-so from Australia, so-and-so from the Philippines, so-and-so from the United Kingdom. It's amazing. And kids will say, hey, I set my alarm for 3 a.m. so I could participate. So it's a worldwide class. It's a really cool learning environment, and I look forward to sharing it with you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. I will see you soon.